What's up guys, Blade Master here, going to be bringing you a Charlemagne multiplayer battle 1v1 that I fought against Small but Mighty. This is going to be a very interesting battle because I think it's going to showcase what I think right now is an important feature in Charlemagne. And I'm going to try, I haven't really researched why this thing is so popular, is so powerful. Maybe it's just me, maybe it's Maybelline, maybe it's something that's hidden in the stats of the units that we'll try and find out here while we watch this. Pretty interesting battle. It's played in the preset map of Saxony. I have taken Westphalia, and I'm fighting up against Small but Mighty, who's taken the Kingdom of the Danes. The Kingdom of the Danes, unique faction in that it doesn't have a single cavalry unit. That's not really a crutch, in my opinion, because they have more than enough tools to deal against cavalry. Specifically in these guys, the dreaded Dane axe has returned, of course, because it is the Kingdom of the Danes, and they will do insane amounts of damage to both cavalry and infantry alike. I would like to see the Dane axe, sorry, these guys are called the Big Axes, the most creative name for a unit of that sort. I would like them to just have a massive bonus versus infantry and then not have such a high weapon damage, so that they can be killed by cavalry. I honestly think cavalry could have a slightly higher role, slightly larger role in Charlemagne. And I would try and use, maybe make a balance mod or help Walrus Jones make up his balance mod, or improve his balance mod, or advertise his balance mod if he does it well. The Berserkers here are going to charge into Say Axe Warriors, who have popped into Shield Wall. The Berserkers are incredibly powerful units. Gone are the Berserkers' traditional weaknesses. They now have a 40% missile block chance, they have 60 armor, 150 health, and just everything, all of their stats are off the charts, but they only have 60 men instead of 120. So the Kingdom of the Danes has brought a total of 6 levy freemen, and he's brought 4 berserkers behind them, 4 big axes as a third line, and 3 sword-haired men as the fourth line, a couple of archers, and a housecarls general with a double experience chevron. I, on the other hand, have brought a mixture of Say Axe Warriors and Say Axe Band, which are the cheap ones. 2 Say Axe Warriors in the center, 3 Say Axe Warriors I think in the center, a couple of sword veterans and a couple of Say Axe Band, and a couple of Axe Warriors to make up the aggressive flanking component of my army. I brought a total of 4 archers. These are they're slightly more expensive in the Westphalian roster. I think like 400, maybe 250 talents, but they have 38 missile damage instead of 32, which is fielded by the cheapest archer unit. Also brought a couple of Hearth Cavalry. These units cost 1000 talents, incredibly powerful against cavalry. Against enemy infantry, not really too sure about any cavalry's effectiveness against them, except maybe like Avar Lancers, the shock cavalry. Also brought a couple of Scout Cavalry. In hindsight, maybe bringing some Saxon cavalry would have been useful, because Saxon cavalry are pretty decent. But both of these cavalry units, they're javelin cavalry with only 2 javelin volleys, which is strange. Brought a couple of spear warriors, and of course I have a Hearthguard general with brace. Now, the berserkers chew through my Say Axe Warrior line. Only 3 casualties inflicted by my Say Axe Warriors in Shield Wall with their bonus versus infantry. These guys have a 5 bonus anyways, and now they have a 15 bonus versus with Shield Wall. Still managed to do absolutely nothing against berserkers. So I use an Axe Warrior to hold up this berserker while I start firing onto it with enemy archers. I've been using the archers to already kill off one of the Dane axes, the big axes, and I'm just trying to target the big axes as much as possible. But on my right flank, I'm using one of my Axe Warriors to hold up some of the big axes, but they're obviously just chewing through them very, very quickly. Axe Warriors, not the greatest unit to be used in a defensive tanky role. They're very good as aggressive units, not really very good against as anything else. Archers here are about to get killed by berserkers, not microing with them very well. I'm instead trying to rear charge with my Hearth Cavalry into the big axes, kill off a lot of them, using my cavalry as conservatively as possible. Got a clean charge onto sword-haired men with this Hearth Cavalry, getting them 75 kills, not pulling away. Pulling out with cavalry is a surefire way to get them killed, unless maybe it has to be in this way, because I would instead be fighting up against levy freemen. But still, they take a lot of unnecessary damage. He's turned around his levy freemen because he knows I have cavalry behind him, which is a smart move. And I can't fire at his archers on the other hand, because I'm trying to fire and kill off these berserkers who were before berserk, but now they're just chilling. But this berserker is going to come in and try and kill off my archer. But so far the archer has proven to be quite useful. 47 kills, 28 with the other berserkers here, getting ganged up on by Axe Warriors and Say Axe Warriors. and the Axe Warriors are managing to kill the last remaining Berserkers who are already on, with low health. Off. Spear Warriors here, 50 kills against Levy Freeman, and now going to kill off the last of the big axes. The last of the axes. Big mosh pit here. Attila base game-esque mosh pit. The sword veterans down to 65 men. This Sayax band with 17 kills hardly lost a unit. Doing pretty well. I think they're going to be a very good unit, a good low-tier unit. Probably going to be the bread and butter unit that's going to be used by Westphalia. The sword veterans, though, on the other hand, don't have that bonus versus infantry. They don't have the Sayax. They just wield a regular sword. But they have very good melee defense and decent enough armor to make them a bit more of a tankier unit that Westphalia can field. The Hearth Guard has a 50 melee damage sword. I wonder if it's the same thing that the Avar Noble Swordsmen are using. I want to just take a look. Sorry, I'm not... whatever, I'm just focused on the other parts of the battlefield. Here, this Berserker can't catch my archers, killing them off with the archers. Archers, all in all, one of them, I've actually pulled one of them to the other side. Baiting some arrows with my scout cavalry, and this archer is firing into the flank / rear of these sword-haired men. Sword-haired men, 46 armor, decent enough, but against heavy shot archers from behind, they're not going to do much. Look at these archers firing at mine. They haven't done anything because because flaming shot really doesn't make it gives them much lower missile damage, to the point where you only need to use it's not like Attila where you use flaming shot against everything. Here you really need to use flaming shot only when you want to inflict morale penalties or against cavalry. So sword here when you're still taking damage from my archers. My archers, on the other hand, haven't lost many units at all. They're getting a lot of kills firing into the rear of these units. Meanwhile, his big axes and berserkers have mopped up my right flank. I used this Hearth cavalry to kill off his housecarls though, and I've used my archers to keep shooting with heavy shot onto the berserkers. The general has recently died, and that's causing a lot of these haired men to rout. And I'm going to try and showcase to you guys exactly what I was talking about earlier, and I'm going to try and find out. So right now the morale of Levy Freeman since their general died is at 1. So that itself gives you an indication that, you know, having a lot of these cheap spear units can be very useful, but it's not going to be, it carries its own set of risks, as we see these guys wavering. My Hearth cavalry just bum rushes the archers line and kills some of them off. Levy Freeman here mass routing, and that's because I'm using flaming shot now. The big axes, you can see the -9 morale on the big axes. They're -4, they rout. The berserkers have insane amount of morale for a unit. They're already down to 28 morale. And now that I'm using flaming shot, it's down to 28 because of flaming shot. It's now down to 16 because I'm using a mixture of flaming shot and whistling shot, which is why I think archers are going to be very, very important. And now it's down to 3, and even almost a full strength berserker is wavering now. And it's this sort of chain rout that completely changes the course of the game. I wasn't winning. These Levy Freeman with expert charge defense on their shield wall could have done a decent bit of damage. But yeah, now that there's flaming shot, whistling shot in the air, and there's just a huge morale penalty from the general recently dying, that's causing all the difference. The berserkers here down to 27 men, shattered. These Levy Freemen, shattered. Finally using the scout cavalry to get a rear charge, but it's all over. It's that chain rout though. Pyrrhic victory for Westphalia. Kind of pulled this one out my butt. My archers saved the day really. All of them got single experience chevron, one of them got a double. On the other hand, his Dane axes, some of them did very well, but the others underperformed because they were targeted by the archers at the start of the game. The berserkers, on the other hand, excellent unit for Danes. They're just brilliant. I want to see how much they cost. The Levy Freeman didn't do anything. Bringing this many of them, I think, kind of like fucked up small but mighty. The sword haired didn't really do much either. That's that low morale coming into play. Let me just take a quick look and try and validate my claim that morale is playing a much bigger role in Charlemagne. The average morale, at least, okay, let's take a look at the Avars. 30 to 36. And if you use flaming shot, you get -9. If you use whistling shot, stack that up, you get -21 morale. -21. That is a minus that gives a pretty fearsome unit like the tribesmen 15 morale just base. And imagine if they're fighting cavalry, that gives a morale penalty. Imagine if they're losing a battle, that gives a morale penalty. You know, our noble lancers 54, remove 21 from that. That's 33. 33, really? Minus 12, minus 9. That's 21, and 3. Yeah, 33 morale. That's really poor. Kingdom of the Danes. Big Axes, low morale. All these guys very low morale. The Berserkers have 54 morale, which is, I think, among the highest, right? You can't really find. Let me even look for the Westphalia. I'm sure with these guys, the Hearth Cavalry, with their expensive, they have only 45 morale. And on the other hand, you know, you have in the base game of Attila, you have a lot of units that have very high morale, basically next to unbreakable in any situation. But here, even units like the Umayyad Guardsmen have only 54 morale. You don't find any units that have high enough morale. On the other hand, Flaming Shot and Whistling Shot still carry the same morale penalty that it used to carry over in base game. Let me just show you. Elite Nubian Warriors, minus 12 morale, minus 9 morale. Whereas over here, even something as shitty as an Elite Nubian Archer has 51 morale. And then you have Beher's Chosen, where's their morale? 51. The average, I think, is higher. And then you have a lot of units that have unbreakable morale. Axum is kind of a weird one. Elite Alemannic Scavenger, 45 morale, 51 morale in these guys. All in all, I feel like there's a bit of validity in what I'm trying to claim here. But on even if the same morale mechanics were taking place in Attila, the fact that cavalry ruled over everything so much meant that nuances like flaming plus whistling shot didn't really matter in multiplayer as much as it mattered in single player. But I think in Charlemagne, with its increased emphasis on infantry and as a result on archers, stacking morale penalties is the way to go. Let me know if you guys agree or disagree with my comments, and let me know if you want to see more of Charlemagne multiplayer. Your likes matter a lot in this sense, because it seems that most of the people in the channel seem to like only Rome 2, but I want to bring more Charlemagne multiplayer because I think Charlemagne is a lot of fun. Needs a slight bit of tweaking to make it really good, but yeah, the potential is there. Stay tuned for more. Peace.